What's up everybody, Franco here from the Oncorage team, and today I want to talk about something super important to this whole realm of photography, videography. Today I want to talk about light, specifically lighting, different types of light, how to use light, how not to use it, when to use it, how to use it to your advantage, and when. I hope you like that little sequence of sunset. My buddy Jake Tovar and we were shooting a wedding that Saturday, and during this quarantine season, there wasn't really a lot of things we could do, especially with the wedding and people. So we went out to the fields of Bakersfield, and Jake's focus on photography is portraits and portraiture. So he knows well about the spots here and when the light hits perfect for that nice picture. He took pictures and I took video, and this is what we got. This is a fantastic shot during this golden hour vibe. It got me thinking, I should start talking about lighting and the different timing throughout the day, whether it's sunrise, midday, or sunset, how to use this light at its best, whether it's photography, videography. So let's start off. I'm going to break it down into 4 sections: weather and the atmosphere, color and texture, focus and direction, and lastly, shadows. Before we start talking about light, I think we can all agree on this. If you're a photographer, if you're a videographer, one of the best feelings is when you are there waiting for that light, whether it's sunrise or sunset or midday, you're waiting for that light, and you just get to watch the light change. And every shot you take is just different, and it's awesome to see how light changes your results. One thing to remember is light is an important element to photography, videography. Without light, we can't really do much. There's a lot of different type of lighting, whether it's top, front, back, side, warm light, cool light. When talking about lighting, whether if you're a beginner or you're experienced, lighting tends to scare us. For many, it's challenging how to use light and how to manipulate it. For others, it's vague. For others, it can be fixed if you're shooting in film, if you're a film photographer. A lot of rolls are just fixed on one ISO as opposed to shooting in digital. And for others, it can be damaging as well. For in the same world as film photography, when you're in the darkroom and you let that light hit that roll film, when it's not done processing yet, there goes a night roll film. Even when we're talking about night photography, there's no light at night. The rules of photography and filmmaking change at night. The light helps us a lot, but it can also damage us. Now I'm gonna quit chatting. Let's get on with the first one. Number 1, weather and the atmosphere. How is the light during a specific weather condition? Whether it's super sunny outside or you have an overcast. Tend to think about each season, how the weather changes from winter to spring to summer to fall, but also the lighting too. And as creatives, we tend to only shoot sunrise or sunset. When talking about weather conditions, a lot of creatives don't want to do it because environment and the harsh lighting. Now, in my opinion, there's no such thing as bad light. You can find ways to be creative either with flat light or warm light, depending on which condition you're in, to go your way to take that nice picture or video that you want to take. Let's just say you have a very sunny day, and within that day you're gonna have that warm light. And on the contrary, when you have an overcast, you're gonna have this very flat light. And these both lights can be used in different ways. Let's take this set of pictures for example. This is an example for warm light. This is taken in October of last year at Yosemite National Park at Taft Point. Now, as you can see, this is sunset, and the light is at its last minutes until it turns nighttime. Now, warm light can be also known as very natural light, or only based on sunrise or sunset. So let's take, for example, an overcast day where it's very dark, very moody. Overcast days would be known as flat light. Now, flat light is one of the best lights that we can ever have. It's overcast, and when we have that flat light, you don't have to worry about the very harsh light that the sun provides. You can control the highlights and the shadows of your picture. Another good thing with flat light in pictures is that you get to control the dynamic range of that picture. A lot of portrait photographers use flat light when they're taking their portraits, whether in these conditions of overcast or snow or even rainy, moody vibes. Here's an example for when I went to Hume Lake. This is a snowy day, but there's still sun. It's very overcasty on one side, but then on the other side of the picture, the sun is still shining through those clouds. So when you get to control the light in your weather condition, it's very cool what you could get as a result. The next topic I want to talk about is color and texture. Now, this one's very different in its own way, because we obviously know that when light hits a surface or a subject or something, it's going to reflect or bounce off or refract or even be absorbed, and that leads into color and texture. Now, something cool we could learn about this is how to take advantage of that light when it reflects or refracts or bounces off that subject or that surface. It's very interesting in how light interacts with surfaces and different subjects when it hits it. For example, if it hits water or if it hits a landscape, a mountainside. Something unique about this and how you could use this is to contrast your colors and complement colors. But when we're talking about texture, it's all about timing and when the light hits. For example, in this picture, when there's no light hitting this mountain, rather than this one where there's light hitting the mountain, and it gives more detail and more clarity on the texture of that mountain. Another cool thing about how light hits color and texture is when it absorbs it. Now, one thing I do want to mention, especially in black and white photography, turning a color picture to black and white adds a lot of emphasis in textures and light. Here are a few examples. The third section I want to talk about is focus and direction. This has to do a lot when you're taking landscape photography. Typically, you can use this method in any type of day, whether it's midday or sunrise or sunset. But it works great in landscapes, and it works great. I think it works best for me when you're doing midday. Let's say you're shooting and there's a lot of clouds, and then within those clouds, there's beams of light of the sun coming down. And what that could do is those beams of light could point down into, let's say, a river that's down below, or a house, or even just the mainland, hills, or a valley, and that light directs your focus into that certain area of the picture or video. It has to do a lot with leading lines, and when you can do it with light, it can have a lot of impact in your picture. Usually when we see a picture, our eye tends to see what is the brightest spot on that picture. For me, every time I see these kind of pictures that they use light to direct your focus to somewhere else, whether it's either down or up, or even on some kind of thirds. Now, when this tool is being used, personally for me, that person is a very good storyteller. Not only is he directing your focus on something that he wants you to see, but he's also trying to tell you a story. Why is that focus so important? It's super cool. Here's more examples of how when focus and direction come to play when talking about light. Now, the last one I want to talk about is shadows. Shadows is something that really scares people in photography when it comes to lighting. Shadows tend to scare a lot of creatives, and the reason why is because sometimes they can't control what shadows they have in their pictures. That's why a lot of photographers I know don't shoot midday, because of those unsettling shadows that you get whether you're taking portraits or landscape or you're trying to get video. That's just too harsh. Midday, I guess you would say those afternoon hours, it's too harsh. That light is too harsh. However, shadows are actually a good guide for composition. When I started doing this, I did not like shooting midday because of all the harsh shadows that I got, and even the bright highlights, those whites and blacks. I did not like it. But if you know how to frame your picture right and with the right composition, that can actually help you a lot. Shadows in a way also teach us to be patient and to wait for the exact moment or for the exact light that we actually want. It's also a nice guideline to compare pictures from time to time and how shadows and light switch between each photo you take or with each sequence that you film. So those are the 4 sections I want to talk about today, and I know there's a lot more information and a lot more to talk about with each section. Those are some basics that came to my mind at first thinking about it. I hope they help someone to think about either how lighting works or encourage you by allowing you to think more about light, and not to scare you, but to inspire you and be more creative with what light you capture and how to manipulate it with either the focus or the direction to capture more light and texture, to always think about the weather you're shooting in and the atmosphere you're around, to check your surroundings, and lastly, to not be afraid of shadows. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any more questions or want to talk about this, you could tweet us at Oncorage on Twitter, or you could message us on Instagram at Oncorage Magazine. Or even then, if you want to have a personal conversation about lighting with one of the team members, you could tweet us at Oncorage and we'll get in contact with you. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new or if you're into that stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one.